Welcome back to another episode of Swamp Stories. This time we head to Stockton, California. But wait, make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you're not from Northern California, you may not be familiar with Stockton, so let me break it down for you. Stockton is about an hour east of the Bay Area and about 30 minutes south of Sacramento. There is absolutely no reason to go to Stockton. "Ooh, let's go to Stockton today" is a sentence that nobody has ever said. Trust me, there's nothing to do there. Like seriously, nothing. On top of this, it's hot, dry, and dangerous. Stockton is the last place that bay waters flow to, so it became a port city. It's surrounded by farms, so the city grew because ships would come pick up the produce, then bring it down the river to the Bay Area. Times have changed though, and humans have evolved, so Stockton doesn't really have an industry anymore. It's actually the largest city in American history to file for bankruptcy protection. In 2012, the city went completely bankrupt and couldn't even pay its employees until they got saved by the federal government. It was bad, not to mention that Stockton has the highest foreclosure rate in the US.
Let's say you come home from work, your house has been burglarized, and you find the front door open, but the house is safe, it's been ransacked. There's a good chance that you won't get a uniformed officer at that call.
While the fight goes on, the people of Stockton continue to struggle. More and more people are showing up for food giveaway programs and free meals.
Even though their economy has been bad for a while now, Stockton is one of the fastest growing cities in the country. Wait. So you mean to tell me that people are moving to this city where there's no jobs, a bad economy, and no attractions? Yes, that's exactly what has happened. The Bay Area has gotten more and more expensive over the last 20 years, which has caused gentrification. All these lower income families have been pushed out to Stockton. Just like Antioch, Stockton is filled with people from East Oakland, Hunters Point, Richmond, East Palo Alto, and more gentrified neighborhoods. When they moved to Stockton, they realized that things operate differently. Unlike in the Bay, where you associate with whatever block you're from, in Stockton, it's more about who you roll with rather than where you're from. That being said, it's still different than other cities like Antioch and Fairfield that had no crime before the Bay Area gentrification. Stockton had already established their streets before the Bay Area people started moving in. That's what makes Stockton so crazy. There are so many sides to it, I can't cover it all in one video. That brings me to the hottest group of rappers in Northern California. We're going to talk about who they are, who their rivals are, and why they split up. But before we do that, let me run the intro. Let me introduce you to the EBK Hot Boys. These guys have completely taken over the rap scene. EBK stands for Everybody Kill Us. They're a rap and street group that is centered in Southeast Stockton, specifically 2100 Nightingale Avenue. Although in interviews they claim to just be a rap group, Stockton PD classified EBK as a gang in 2018. They also call themselves 2100 or Nightingale. Even though they recently formed, Stockton police say that they have become one of the most active groups in the 209. Let's talk about their rappers. EBK Young Jock is blowing up like crazy right now. His music is hard and he reps 2100 in it. That being said, no one knows exactly where he's from. In one interview he said he's from Nightingale, in his next interview he said he was from East Oakland, and then in his latest interview he said he never lived around Nightingale but lived in another part of Stockton called Weston Ranch. So let's just say he's from California to be safe. Jock said that he grew up with both parents in the home, but when his brother tragically passed away, he turned to the streets. He spent a good amount of time in juvenile before getting out and starting to rap. You can see what type of time he's on when you look in his eyes. Then you have Marcus Peters. I mean EBK J-Bo. He's the youngest of the group. The 17-year-old is from Nightingale. He grew up with both parents as well, but he turned to the streets when tragedy hit. January 4th, 2015. J-Bo and his siblings were just kids playing at the park. J-Bo was only 10 years old. That's when two teenagers, Lester Hands and Teddy MAHAN, whip out on them and take their belongings. The teens were on a weekend pass out of juvenile hall when they decided to do this. Later that day, J-Bo's father, who went by Rari, did his job as a father and went to go confront the teens who just stole from his children. That's when Lester Hands would whip out and take his life. J-Bo's dad was popular, well-liked, and always regarded as a great father. This tragedy caused J-Bo to jump off the porch at a young age. He actually spent the past couple years in juvenile hall. When he dropped his hit song Don Dada in 2018, he was only 15 years old. You probably know this song from the Hoff Twins documentary. Then you have young Slo-Be, who's from Nightingale as well. He also spent some time growing up in San Diego. He's on his come up too, and his flow is crazy. It's only a matter of time before LA rappers start copying it. I'm just kidding. Look in his eyes though. I promise you, he's not someone you want to mess with. Let's talk about Stockton real quick. Stockton is notorious for gang activity, and that's why you'll find it on the top 10 most dangerous cities list every year. There are 70 of them to be exact, but in this video, we're just going to talk about EBK and their rivals. Their first rival is called 44G in North Stockton. They operate out of the apartment complexes on 4400 Townhome Drive. These guys are big in numbers and have been very active in the past. They throw up fours, that's why you can see J-Bo crack fours in his music videos. EBK's other rival is in North Stockton as well. They're called NGSC, and these guys roll deep. You remember that guy Jeremy Meeks who got famous for his mugshot? Well, he was a member of this gang, and he was known for putting in work too. These guys took a huge blow after Stockton police dismantled them.
CBS 13's Macy Jenkins is live from Stockton with details on this. Macy?
Well, Sharon and Tony, Police Chief Eric Jones calls this a 360 approach to cutting down on gang activity. He says after countless hours of police work, the streets of Stockton are safer tonight.
23 people are behind bars tonight for possession of narcotics, conspiracy, theft, promoting gang activity. The list goes on, and the tally, more than 60 felony charges.
This was an outstanding operation to dismantle a very violent gang in Stockton.
The operation came to a head on Wednesday after a round of raids throughout the city.
And all I heard is boom, police, police.
This man says officers rushed into his home early in the morning.
In general, you never really know what's behind the music. Some rappers lie about a lifestyle and no one really knows if they're from that or not. For example, the Migos have done this for over 10 years and people still haven't figured it out. EBK is different though. They rap about the work they put in and the street life they grew up in. Let me give you an example. They were on a mission to eliminate their Northside Stockton rivals in 2019. May 1st, 2019, EBK members would drive up to their rival territory in North Stockton. That's where they'd find 34-year-old RONALD CELESTINE. They would hop out of the car and take his life. EBK wasn't done though. 4 days later, Ronald's family would host a candlelight in the same area he died. Those same EBK members would drive up to North Stockton again, and they would completely air it out. They hit 5 people, and Ronald Celestine's cousin, Benny Lott, would pass away.
Stockton police officers are giving us some more information on the victims tonight, saying that 5 people were shot here tonight, 2 of them women, 3 of them men, and 2 of those men are in critical condition at an area hospital. Now, we spoke with Stockton police officer Joseph Silva just moments ago.
This area has been hit hard.
And officers say given what's happened here, they're definitely going to have a couple more patrol officers out in this area keeping a watchful eye, and of course this investigation is expected to last several hours.
EBK wasn't ready to call it quits just yet. 2 days later, they would pull back up to North Stockton and find 2 rivals on the same block. They would hop out and dump off on both of them. Both would survive though. For a while, they thought they'd get away with it, but it would all come crashing down on June 20th, 2019. 9 EBK members would go down for it, but only 3 of them were responsible for the bodies. Brian Norman, Ramona Gaines, and Charles Prince would go down for that. As the group would get more and more popular, things would fall apart. Young Jock's older brother, Harry B, would get arrested for selling something green. He made statements that would eventually get EBK J-Bo's cousin indicted. The paperwork would be released, and this is where things get tricky. Just like with SOB RBE, it comes down to street principles versus family. This would cause a tear in the group because Young Jock still says free his brother Harry B even though he has paperwork. J-Bo was not happy about it. He would let it be known in his song.
Harry turned red, he couldn't take the heat. I told that nigga 20 years, he started eating cheese. Ain't say no names, but just say you do a skit with me, and I'll go tell the police everything. That snitching. But the homie said it's not telling. Is you really smoking ops cause I cannot smell it?
At the end of the day, where do your loyalties lie? To your brother or your oath to the streets? I don't think there's necessarily a correct answer, But like I said with the Slo-Be video, some people are not going to respect that you're rapping about the street life, but not living by the codes. Then, to add fuel to the fire, Young Jock said in an interview that EBK is every brother counts, not everybody killers, and it's not the same as J-Bo's EBK. Then, a J-Bo song would be leaked where he says, "I'm the real EBK."
I'm the real EBK, them other niggas knew. Been trying to slither on the homies, but they might tell. Them niggas playing both sides, might have to blitz the homies.
Then things would get more tricky. J-Bo would start making music and hanging with Stubby members in Oakland. He would make songs with top Stubby members Ace Rico and Short 200. Then they would go live together.
Hey, bro,
hey,
bro. Hey,
nigga, I'll drop 100 for this nigga, G.O.D. Brother, know what's up with me.
Then EBK Young Jock would start hanging out with the Case, who are Stubby's rivals. Then, to make all matters worse, EBK's North Stockton rivals diss Young Jock and Slo-Be.
You niggas met each other last year, stop frontin'. Dropped 100 at the hype and ain't pop nothing. Y'all was hanging with a snitch and got popped up. Free my niggas out the cage, them the real thugs. You niggas swinging from our nuts trying to show love. Now y'all acting like it's up over a dirty scrub. Cardi coming out the house and we showed up. Parked this shit in them airbags, blowed up. I thought bros from the west, the one we rolled up. PC ass niggas, you are not tough. San Diego, how the fuck you turn 2-1? North Oakland, how the fuck you turn 2-1? West Lane, how the fuck you turn 2-1? Man, bro, I'm done. I'm gone, bro.
In response to this, J-Bo's cousin would go to their block and post up to show that he isn't scared of them. Hopefully EBK works out everything because they have huge potential to take over the rap scene. Like DJ Vlad always says, just leave your hometown. All this street stuff is not worth it. You don't have anything to prove to the streets. That bag will do the talking for itself. They should just hash out whatever issues they have and get to the money. Life is bigger than your hometown. Trust me, no one in Atlanta, Miami, or New York care if you're up on the score in Stockton. On that note, thank you for watching. Leave a like and subscribe. Also, let me know in the comments what you want to see next. Peace!